just ecstatic and re-energized. So
Excellent.
yeah.
That sounds great. Just kind of going through, and I'm having we're broadcasting. I see people are out there with us on Facebook tonight, but for some reason, one of the YouTube, it says it's connected, but it's not. So I've got to find that player. So we'll keep going with the show for those of you, and I'm thinking it's probably going to a different spot that I'm not aware of. This happens sometimes. For those of you who are
Technology, right?
oh, exactly. For those of you who don't stream, also was pretty much streaming. It was much easier, but now that everybody and their cousin is streaming of one way, shape, or form, we've had more little issues. Yeah, it's streaming to a different window, or at least I was maybe on the wrong one. So we'll pop to the one that says it's live, and then we can talk about. Yeah, it's the same one. Ugh, whatever. Anyway, so let's dig into a couple of things. President Trump just finished up a little bit ago talking about their stimulus package. A couple of points that he mentioned were that for businesses that have employees, that they were talking about doing some small business loans, and if you can keep your employees for those 8 weeks, that they would be waiving the loan, basically forgiving that loan. Is this something that a lot of the DJ companies who are multi-system companies with staff, is this the kind of thing they're going to be able to take advantage of, do you think?
Yeah, I think they will. And again, we're really early on in the stages to find out how this is all going to work. And I've had a number of phone calls today, people saying to me, how does this payroll forgiveness work? How are they working it out? We haven't gotten the details yet. But what I would say to you is kind of just keep your ear to the news media. They'll give you guidance. They'll give you direction. We should be hearing in the next, say, week or so exactly how this is all going to work and where you're going to apply to. So it's good news. It gives us hope. I think it gives the market, it gives the economy hope, which is a real plus.
And I wonder, when you mentioned the market, giving that market hope, if that's a lot of the things, because there was a big thing talked about yesterday about, that maybe Easter we would be back, starting to bring things back online again. And the question becomes is the giving positive, even if the information isn't completely possible, as the governor of New York said, is that keeping that market in a semi-positive mindset so important to the recovery of this situation, that information like that might be shared that may not be completely possible?
Yeah, I think it's hope, and I'm going to put my own spin on what it was, and I think what our president was trying to relate to all of us is we have to have some target to shoot for. Is Easter aggressive? Yes, it is. We don't know how this whole pandemic is going to spread out, but I think what he was trying to do is say to the nation, let's buckle down, let's do in place, let's do all the things that are right so our healthcare professionals can kind of get a handle on what's out there and how they can manage it. But let's set a target date. If we all work together collectively as a country, it's a target date that we're working towards. Is Easter weekend realistic? I don't think anybody knows. And I think you have both sides of the fence that are saying, yes, it might be realistic, but I think you have the healthcare professionals that are saying, until we really truly understand what's out there, let's kind of not get everybody's hopes up way too high.
Yeah, and that's really the part of that. I was kind of hearing that from some of the medical professionals. And because of Minnesota, we've got the University of Minnesota, and we have the Mayo Clinic in Rochester. So they're on a lot on our airwaves here, giving some feedback like that. And they were basically just, we don't know. We can't give you an answer. We can hope.
Yeah. And I think with what we're looking at is common sense. I live in a beach town here in Ogunquit. And yes, over the weekend, you thought it was summer up here. People from out of state were looking to escape the inner city and coming up here. And I think it was to the point of the governor of Maine said, hey, we're going into sort of this 14-week quarantine, stay at home, and I think it was just, let's get people off the beach and think about this being serious. And it worked. I mean, me driving to my office this morning, it was very eerie being the only car on the road.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Of course, I had my letter from the bank that said I'm authorized to be out here, all prepared if I got to stop. But I didn't. But again, I think people are taking this very seriously. And I think now this was the wake-up call. The states like your state, my state, saying, let's stay at home. Let's get through this 14-day quarantine period. And then let's see where we come and let's reevaluate the situation.
So let's take a look at We talked a little bit about the SBA loans that are going to be coming out. Now there's been talk and such, when we talked a little bit about this last week, of the gig economy type people, the independent contractors and such, that there is going to be help for them. Have you heard any more about that, or anything that will help the
Yeah.
DJs out there?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that are going on all together, and I'm going to actually relate it to my own experience. I have a number of clients that have come to me that are in the service industry, restaurants, hospitality, that have come to us and said, "Hey, look, we're in this. What can you do?" And we're working on a 90-day deferment program. So, number one, if you have a loan with a bank, contact your bank, ask what programs they're running, whether it's 90-day deferment on payments, whether it's 6 months interest only on your loan. Be prepared. We're not asking for a lot of information. We're asking you to update your financial information if you haven't given us your tax returns or whatever, and then a simple narrative of how COVID-19 has affected your business.
Okay.
What has happened? Give us a brief statement. Tell us what you're doing right now to kind of alleviate some of the burden of expenses, and what you're going to do once the faucet gets turned on. And we're trying to turn these around fairly quickly. Number two, the SBA loan that's being offered. And again, I will tell you, the pipeline is mobbed. People are having difficulty getting on there. If you don't need it, hold back for a moment. If you're kind of looking at where your finances are, don't rush to that site, because I think there's a lot of people that are out there that are applying for these loans in desperation, or, well, what happens if I need the money? Now, I'm going to share a success story with you.
Mm-hmm.
One of the DJs reached out to me and he said, "Jerry, I've got so much on my credit card bill. I really don't want to go for the SBA loan." But he said, "I'm seeing that Bank of America, Chase, are offering 0% financing on balance transfers with a minimum fee." And we talked, and I said, "Look, what is it going to hurt? Why don't you go ahead online and apply?" This DJ went within a minute and a half. He got approval from Bank of America to transfer the balance from his high rate credit card to the 0% interest for 18 months. And he has a small balance transfer fee. And he said, "Oh, this is huge." He said, "Because now I'm not having to pay this balance or worry about carrying it at 23% interest."
Ooh, yes.
He said, "Thank you." He said, "That was a huge uplift to me." He said, "Just doing that simple task." So what I'm going to say to all the DJs out there, explore every opportunity. Look at where you're at and see there are offers out there besides just the SBA, that if you're looking for $10,000 or $5,000 to get you over the next couple of months, that's going to be very helpful. So I'm going to put two out there, and I know that they're banks that I don't work for, but Bank of America and Chase are really responding to the customers' needs out there. They're really working with their clients. They're making resources available. So again, this is another option for many people to look at.
That was actually one of the areas I wanted to hit, is because you had talked about having communication with the banks. And one area that, can you give us kind of an example? You mentioned that kind of putting together a narrative of what life is going to be like after we get out of this by the business. If you were going to be writing one of those for your DJ business, or helping someone write one, what kind of things would you include in that, if you could kind of walk us through the process or the pieces?
Sure. Number one, talk about the business that you've lost. Talk about the proms, the corporate events. Okay. Talk about the fact that you're having weddings deferred to later on in the year. So, okay, in the month of March, I lost $10,000 in income because I had 3 corporate events postponed, and they're going to reset up for next year or the following year. Number 2, I have weddings that I booked that total revenues of $8,000 for March and April. They are rebooking with me on off dates in September and October. So right now, I haven't lost that income, but it's been deferred.
Yeah.
So therefore, I am going to get it. I still am going to be on target because I technically haven't lost the income. It's just gone. The thing with the proms, the schools, you can mention that, hey, the schools are currently working remotely. The students are not in the school. There's anticipation these proms are not going to happen. Hey, I've lost this amount of money. I'm hopefully going to make it up in additional wedding bookings because we know as brides defer their weddings to either later dates this year or early next year, there are going to be DJs that are not going to be able to accommodate them. So we are going to have to pick them up. We are going to have to pick up the slack. People that have open dates are going to pick up the slack. So I'm working with other wedding vendors. So that simple narrative will help us understand why we need to give you that deferment.
Excellent. Good advice. Good thoughts there, because
Yeah. And
that's
the
important.
other piece of it, John, too, is do your personal financial statement. We want to know, hey, how are you set financially? So take a minute to kind of, you can go on the SBA website, download a personal financial statement, be detailed, be accurate. Um, get your tax returns. If you haven't filed yet or you've got previous ones, hey, here's what I've made on average, and I know I'm going to come out of this. The more confident you sound to a banker, the more likely you are going to get us to work with you. Picking up the phone and calling me and saying, hey, Jerry, you know what? I need to have my loan payment deferred for 9 months. Okay. Why? Well, I just need it because the coronavirus. Unfortunately, we're getting so much that's going to be pushed to the bottom of the pile. The people that are well prepared, we are ready to deal with them and respond as quickly as possible.
And that's pretty much across the board that banks in general right now are wanting to help because they don't want to see these businesses crash.
No, I mean, to a bank, us owning your assets means absolutely nothing. We want to see you succeed. We want to see the income stream rebuild. We want to see the repayment. And that's what we're trying to do is we're trying to help you out. And I would say the banks that I'm dealing with, my counterparts at other banks, we're all working for 90-day deferments. And we're looking at those very seriously. We're taking them very seriously. We're trying to put everybody's mind at ease. Now, on the flip side of it, John, I'm also seeing today 4 businesses that called me that are looking for money because their business is ramping up.
Wow.
I have one manufacturer that is looking for significant equipment because they're seeing a ramp up in their business. The conversion of factories looking at doing medical supplies and refitting and retooling. So those underlying pinning currents of our economy are building up. And I think we have to look to that to say, yes, let's not just focus on the hospitality industry and the restaurant industry. And restaurants are being creative. I have one client who owns 8 restaurants. They're doing takeout, they're doing lessons online, they're finding ways to generate income. I know a couple of DJs that reached out to me that said, hey, I saw my local supermarket was looking for help restocking shelves. Oh, what the heck? I've stayed up 24 hours a day anyways. I'm going to go stock shelves and put a little income in my
Yeah,
pocket.
for sure.
So we're all working hard to kind of put a roof over our head, food on the table, and make sure that we can hug and kiss our children goodnight.
For sure. That's the ultimate goal of all of what we are doing in our process. Let's talk a little bit more about loan deferment and interest deferment type of situations. Now, one might entail not making a monthly payment. One might be making a monthly payment without the interest. For those who are kind of fuzzy in those areas, kind of describe those options that could be available to them.
Yeah, there's 2 options. One, let's go to loan deferment. What we're really saying is you won't make a loan payment for 3 months. So what's going to happen is those loan payments are going to be tacked on the backside of your loan. So when you start making payments, you're going to find a significant amount is going to go to interest to, number one, catch you up because the loan is still going to accrue interest during those 90 days. When your balance comes due, rather than you making one final payment equal to your monthly payments, you're going to have a large principal payment that is due. Most people are comfortable with that. The second thing is we're seeing interest only, where maybe a loan is 50% principal, 50% interest. So what customers are asking us is just give us an interest only period for 3 to 6 months so that I cut my payments in half. I can afford to make a payment to the bank, but I can't make the full monthly payment.
Okay.
So we're seeing that on the backside too. SBA, if you have an SBA 504 because you financed your office, you financed your facility, SBA is being very generous on the SBA 504s. I've been hearing deferments as high as 6 months on the SBA debenture. So again, we're looking at how can we give you some interim relief so you can meet some of the other obligations.
So now, when a person is doing either the interest only or completely deferred payments, is there going to be any sort of a negative with one or the other that you would recommend them stay away from one and favoring the other, or does it really just depend on the situation?
No, we're not holding it against you. We're not going to report you as delinquent. The banking industry is looking at this as a way to kind of alleviate and allow you to prefer cash. Neither one is going to be negative. We're just, what we're doing is we're just giving people an opportunity to not have to immediately, go into further debt. And that's what we're trying to do, is prevent people going into further debt and then finding out that they can't get out in the long run. For us to give somebody a 90-day deferment rather than going out to get a loan to pay our loan, that would be the negative situation.
Mm-hmm. They're just compounding the situation really quickly.
Compounding the situation and making it worse.
So let's kind of look ahead now for the next few days, and with the news that we've had 2 days of the stock market. Actually, I think it's been up both days, yesterday and today.
Yeah, since February 12th.
So that's the first time. So.
Sorry, those are little facts I keep track of.
So where do you think the market is going to, in the confidence now that hopefully later this evening that the bailout, or I should say the program is going to be put into place? Where do you think things are going to go?
I think we're going to see this continued volatility in the market. Tomorrow you have the announcement about the unemployment and the jobs claims. We know it's going to rocket from 224 to 3 million. I think the market may get a little jitters from that. But again, it's hard to tell. I think there's a lot of people, gold has dropped. Treasury bills have dropped. There's no money there. I think that the cash that's sitting on the sidelines, people are kind of wondering, where do I kind of invest? You got to look at the dividend yields, though. The dividend yields are high, above 10% on any stock. So there's I think the panic selling was people wanted cash. I mean, we still have people that show up at the drive up. They go, I need to withdraw $10,000 from my account because I want cash.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you hold cash in your account? You might as well just post it on Facebook. But, I think people are kind of now feeling a little bit more comfortable. Are we going to go up 5,000 points in 1 week? I don't see that realistically, but I think we're going to see a gradual back. We're going to see this up and down. We're going to see the market reacting to different things that are being announced. One positive thing is Marriott Corporation, the president of Marriott, went out on a podcast and talked about the fact that he's deferring his income. He's not going to take any more income. The Marriott Corporation is going to defer advertising dollars to help supporting employees. So I think those positive news of what the major corporations are doing to help support their workers is also going to bolster sort of the economy as a whole and kind of give some confidence that we're all in this together.
Excellent. Yeah, that having that, even if there are a little up and down, but these major swings where we're losing 10% and gaining 8%,
yeah,
is just that's that roller coaster. I believe they refer to.
Yeah, like John, you and I, we're going to be working until we're 80 years old. We'll be doing this podcast here, and we'll have walkers on the side of us.
It'll be like we'll be doing it from our local Walmart. Excuse me, have a nice. Thanks for coming in. And
we'll be giving out smiley stickers. Who knows?
Great. I got a question from in the chat room. Somebody was asking about if they were needing to purchase some equipment, is what the SBA is working towards or working with right now, is that possible to use towards purchasing of equipment, or is that a completely separate loan situation for a business?
No, you can use it towards purchasing equipment. And I would also have them talk to their bank too, because rates are low at the bank. And because we're not getting a lot of new loan requests, things like equipment purchases are going to take a priority with us. So I would definitely do two-pronged. Number one, SBA. Number two, the bank. And kind of work with your banker. Let them kind of guide you through it. Again, the SBA disaster loan was set up as sort of a gap funding for people that need capital to kind of make their way through this unprecedented times. That's what the disaster relief loan is for. But there is still the 7A, the 504 programs that can certainly help you out. And those rates are just phenomenal right now in terms of lending. So.
It's much better than the 23% credit card.
Credit card debt, yeah. And again, if it's small purchases, the balance transfers, if you're purchasing DJ equipment from IDJ now, or they're offering the infinite the program there where you can purchase DJ equipment. They will go on a monthly payment plan, 0% interest. Again, explore all opportunities.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential right now, and the prices on gear. There's actually a lot of great prices on gear because the manufacturers are extending great pricing to the dealers. So,
Yeah,
if you're in that market,
it doesn't do the manufacturer any good for the gear to sit in the warehouse. So they're looking at us like we're looking. We can't make money unless we do gigs. The manufacturers can't make money unless they're selling the gear. So again, I think it's just everybody looking at how can we get this economy rolling in the position that we're in. So
yeah, good advice. Somebody was asking if you're licensed to work in New York, or if you're just up in the main area.
The bank I work at is basically Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Maine. But that individual that's asking me, if they want to reach out to me directly via jerry@maindiscjockey.com, I can connect them with bankers that I know in New York. I'm more than happy to give them a referral. So
there we go.
Absolutely. If you're in a marketplace, and I know we're broadcasting all over the country, I have an extensive network, and I'd be more than happy to point you in the right direction.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, there's a couple of words that I heard over the weekend, and I kind of mentioned that to you or earlier. And this is really the first time I've actually heard them throwing the inflation thing. I've heard that a couple of times, but on Sunday, the first time I had heard them talk about that is this could be causing a depression type situation with the money that's basically being created to cover these things. Have you heard anything about that, or is that something that's just starting to make its way through and it's in that backroom conversation type of thing?
John, it's more in the backroom conversation. And again, you have so many analysts out there that are trying to kind of figure where the market is. And we're doing a lot of comparisons. And I think as you read the financial data and you read the gurus out there, they're kind of trying to equate this situation. It's something we've never been in before. And I've seen in a number of articles that I get in my daily feeds, and I get probably 20 to 30 articles in a daily feed. I've seen the word depression thrown out there. We're in a recession. No matter how you look at it, we are in a recession. It was a recession caused by a major economic event. Nobody ever figured it would be a pandemic situation. There have been other cases. Some of the people are equating it to depression because of the rapid growth of unemployment and so forth. I think until we kind of get a little bit more filtered through this, I don't know that that's the appropriate word. And if you understand recession, the federal government and the Fed, the powers that be, when they say we're in a recession, it's actually the recession started 2 months ago. And it's not until they see a repeated pattern of certain economic conditions that they then can say we are in a recession, which includes bull market, which includes drop in GDP, which includes drop in consumer price indexes, consumer confidence over a 60-day period. They'll call it probably in June that we are in an official recession. Mm-hmm. Do I think we'll get to the word depression? No. I think there's enough opportunity out there. I mean, look at Amazon. Look at all the companies that are looking at rapidly hiring people. I went on one website, one job site and I won't mention it, but it was a financial institution. It had 7,000 jobs posted. So, there are the jobs out there. We all enjoy self-employment because we control our own destiny, but there are jobs out there. I think as soon as we get through this period of where we have to stay at home, we're sort of, living in place, those markets are going to reopen up. And I think you're going to see a lot of opportunity. Plus, once the restaurants reopen up, where do we need? We need the chefs. We need the waitresses. We need the dishwashers. I dishwashed when I was 16 years old. Not too bad. I can do it pretty good. I'll tell you that if I had to.
Exactly.
I know how to load those plates in and out. But I think that's where we will be. So I think we're going to see a rapid spike in unemployment. And then I think we're going to see a rapid decline in unemployment. it may take months till we get there and things reopen and things restabilize. But this is not. This is something that are and kudos and praise to all of our medical professionals out there that are doing what they need to do to keep us safe and quickly get us through this as fast as we can.
Yeah, for sure. That's going to be a big thing, and they're putting themselves out there to give advice and to physically be there taking care of those who are needing help the most. So, Jerry, great information once again, my friend. Thank you much for being on. And again, if you guys have any questions or anything you'd like to have us talk about on the show, because I think we're going to be doing this kind of on a regular basis here as we're going through this. I think it's just a good thing to touch base about weekly here on this. If you have any questions, reach out to either Jerry or myself and let us know what you'd like us to kind of hit on the weekly show, and we will certainly do that. And Jerry, again, thank you, and we will be doing it again next week if you've got some time for us.
And for those of you out there, if you have questions, get them to John so John and I can kind of prepare for next week's. This is great, and I'll have some updates on the programs, what's happening, what's going out there to really kind of put your mind at ease. So thank you, everyone, and be safe, be happy, and enjoy the time with your family.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, Jerry. We'll be back here at the top of the hour with our next show. We've got Dean Carlson coming up, and we're talking about wedding and the wedding DJs. We'll be back then.